5 weeks in the books for the Evergreen Park Mustang football team, a 3-2 record. Disappointing that they lose at homecoming, but a reasonable explanation for it. Let's bring in Coach Ram. How are you, Coach?
Good. How are you?
Good. Look, you don't want to put everything on injuries, but you were missing a lot of players in that game. And just to kind of pull back the curtain a little bit, the one thing I don't want the EP podcast to do, I want us to support you. I want to hear about your team. I don't want to give an unfair advantage to the other team. So I was aware of this last week when we were doing it, but this isn't like the NFL where there's injury reports, right? Like this isn't like everybody's sharing like key players might be missing. And so you coming on this show and me saying, okay, the quarterback's going to be missing. 2 running backs, your number 1, your number 2 running back, they're going to be missing. You're going to have like 7 or 8 guys that are starters not in the lineup for that game. That's an unfair advantage for Revis. So we don't reveal that kind of stuff, but that was what you were dealing with last week trying to play at homecoming.
Yeah, I mean, and it was tough because injuries are part of the game, but we had a lot of guys out in 1 week, which typically you'll get injuries throughout the season, but you don't get that amount that can't play in one game for, that particular week. So it was a kind of a tough week, kind of us moving guys around, figuring things out at practice, a lot of coaches meetings last week to kind of just shore up our personnel and see where we needed to move guys around and who was going to step up. And, it was a tough game for us, but boys practiced hard last week. They knew that we were shorthanded going in. They gave 100%. Again, we're not happy with the result, but, I could see it on the sideline, and I actually had a couple people talk to me about it. Our guys were into the game until the very end. They were excited, and sometimes it just doesn't work out the way you like it. But again, the effort was there, and we're continuing to build each week.
First 3 weeks, you guys are on fire. You get an injury early on in the 4th game of the season to your QB, and then your QB's not there for game 5. And so that can have a real impact on what's going on with your season. So what do you do then? At some point the kids kind of must notice that, like, hey, we're a slightly different team when we're missing some of these key players. How do you address that as the week's going on, going into your week, even last week?
Well, it really started, the preparation for it. It starts on Saturday morning. And, seeing who... communicating with our trainer, communicating with parents just to kind of see where people are at. And then, our assumption is the player will be out. We just treat it like that. And when you have that many in 1 week, it's tough because, a lot of these guys fill key roles. I mean, some of them play, one side of the ball, some are rotated on both sides of the ball. A lot of them were on all different special teams, but there's no excuse. We had guys step up.
You had one I read about in a Beverly Review. I mean, let's talk about this kid, Garrett Kazmirowicz, who's a junior defensive lineman for you. And the Beverly Review did an article after homecoming on what he did. He stepped up, volunteered to be the running back for that game. He had not done that before. And the most interesting thing is, he's a baseball player who just started playing football in the last couple of years, right?
Yeah, he was a baseball player growing up. He didn't play football until his freshman year. And, he's gotten better each year. He's a big, strong kid, works hard. And, he's really starting to come into his own as a player, and just kind of seeing him step up on offense, play a position that he's never played before. And, doing as best as he can. He did a good job for us. We were proud of his effort. He's been really good on defense for us this year. So having him step up along with, Brady Bruin's not playing, I have confidence in Tyler Phelps replacing him. He's a starting receiver for us, but he also is our backup quarterback. And, he came in and he did he did run the offense and did the best that he can. And, we had a lot of guys step up this week, Garrett being one of them. And it's actually great because in a way, now you got some guys, some game experience that may be in different positions. And, our hope is to make a deep playoff run. And, you never know how your team is going to look in a couple weeks based on availability. So we got to try some different things, see what worked, see what didn't. Obviously, the game didn't go the way we wanted to, but like I said before, we're continuing to build and adjust week to week.
Yeah, and you learn a little bit about your team. I love your quote in that Beverly Review article that the first thing that you said was your team has no quit. And you know, that's what you want to hear from a coach. That tells you that there's something there in that team when their backs are against the wall, when they're having a problem with injuries, when things look insurmountable. It may look like a loss on the piece of paper because it was an L, but it's only 14-0. It could have been a much bigger loss, and they put in a heck of an effort for you.
Yeah, I mean, this team really cares about trying to win every game. And it's evident with how they handle themselves. It was evident how they tried to finish that game on Friday night. And, I've been around before on teams where, you start on a Monday, a bunch of guys are hurt. You kind of float through the week is how I would describe it. And then you kind of have this assumption going in that this is going to be really tough. And it's almost, I don't want to say teams are expecting to lose, but they're not expecting to be super successful. And I never got that vibe at all from our guys. I don't get that. I mean, they're ready to go. They're ready to win. It was homecoming. They gave it their all. And we talked about it. It didn't work out the way we wanted to, but I took away some positives, and I also took away some coaching points on things that we need to improve on.
Shout out to Tim O'Brien who wrote that article, because I
Tim
think
does a great
Tim's
job
everywhere. I don't know how he covers as many things as he actually covers. Like, he's not only covering you, but he's got all the other games that are going on. And then just recently he interviewed my niece, who is just scored, I think, the second best score in the regionals for varsity golf yesterday. I mean, like, he's at every single high school event, it feels like. So, and it must mean a lot when you see him on the sidelines or hanging out at the game that, like, he's paying attention to what's going on over at EP. Yeah, no, it's great that Tim was there. We had some good coverage our first game as well against Chicago Ag. And, a guy like Tim, he's really important to high school athletics because he keeps people interested, keeps people informed, and he also puts a nice personal touch on it that I think a lot of people like to read. So we always appreciate when he's out at our games. Awesome. Anybody else you want to mention, call out, talk about on this game? You want to move on to the next one? Defensively, we played pretty well. A couple guys with 10 tackles in the game, including the Ruvalcaba brothers, Jacob and Esau Ruvalcaba, playing outside linebacker for us. They're two tough guys. Ozzy Vargas, another inside linebacker who stepped up this week in a starting role for us. Did a great job for us with 10 tackles. Axel Salgado, another guy who stepped up as a backup and defense and played a lot of offense for us. Another 10 tackle performance. And then freshman Jalen Chawton had a great game. He had forced fumble, couple pass deflections, and 7 tackles. So, proud of the guys, proud of the efforts. We have to continue to get better leading into Oak Lawn this week. We've had a great couple days of practice so far. Monday, Tuesday went well. And now, keep preparing. Go to Oak Lawn on Friday night. Yeah, this is a big game for you. I mean, Oak Lawn, first of all, they're 5-0. Yeah. They've spent 3 of those games were home games, 2 on the road. They defeated Wheeling 58-0 to kick off the season. They defeated Thornridge by a big score, Shepherd by a point, Bremen 34-21, and just defeated Argo 48-20. So it looks like they put up some points when they want to, and they're a really solid team. Tell me a little bit about this game. They have a definitely strong offense. A lot of these players that they have, I've been watching them now for 3 years, and they have a good amount of seniors on their team that have been starting since they were sophomores. And you could see the growth that they've had, and their coaching staff has done a really good job, and they're off to one of their best starts, if not their best start ever, or at least in a long time. So hats off to them on a great start, and we are very much looking forward to this game. It's a rivalry game. It's Oak Lawn's homecoming.
we're excited to go there and play on Friday night.
How do you keep the focus of the guys when they're doing it? They're going up against a team that's undefeated 5-0. It's their homecoming. You're going on the road. There's going to be a lot of buzz there. Can it become too big of a moment, or is that a good thing for a road team that's looking for a win after a few losses? Like, hey, nobody's expecting anything from us. We know we're good. We're going to go in there and surprise people.
Well, I think when you come off of 2 losses, if you don't have a sense of urgency, then you don't belong. I mean, it's that simple. I hate to be that blunt about it, but they know the expectations. Again, going back to homecoming game, yes, we lost the game. And that's obviously something we never want to do. I didn't think the focus was bad last week, though. I did not, despite homecoming week, which sometimes offers distractions. Thought our guys did a good job, and they came back Monday morning, watching film, ready to go. I think they understand the importance of every game, but there is a little sense of when you lose 2 games in a row. I got a big chip on my shoulder.
Yeah,
I've talked to you about this. I can't stand losing. So.
No, I know you. I know you don't like losing. Like when I ask the question after a loss, I feel bad. Like when I see the result, I go, "Oh, I feel bad. I'm going to have to ask about it because I know it gets under your skin." You're building a successful program. I think we've watched over the last couple of years. This is year 3. You've made some changes. You got guys in your system. It's your style of doing things. It's probably of the 3 years. This is probably your team is probably closest to what you want overall, and it's becoming a Coach Ram team. You get off to a 3-0 start, and to be honest with you, as an outsider looking in, I go, some bad breaks with some injuries at the wrong time, and just, this could be a very different record than 3-2. You could be better than this record. I don't think there's a chance of you being worse than this. I think you're a solid 3-2 team that I'm sure Oak Lawn is not taking lightly just because of your record.
No, and they're, like I said, they're well coached.
Yeah.
They know what's going on. I mean, they know that, yes, they're 5-0 and yes, we're 3-2, but this is going to be a battle on Friday night.
Yeah, these are going to be some pretty evenly matched teams going against each other, I would think.
I would think so. I only watched the film, and a lot changes when you get on the field, but, we're ready to go. We're focused. We have to continue to get better each week. We'll have our slip-ups here and there. And like I said, you just can't spiral with mistakes. And, that's what happened when we played Shepherd. We spiraled after mistakes. And then, before you know it, it's in the 4th quarter. There's 8 minutes left. You still got a chance, but everything's got to go right.
Right.
Bouncing back to a week with a lot of injuries. Again, a lot of this is mental, like we talk about, and I think our guys are mentally ready to go. We just have to continue to be consistent with our effort, be consistent with our teamwork, and good things will happen for us on Friday night.
Awesome. Good luck against Oak Lawn. It's a 7 p.m. game on Friday, the 3rd of October here, a road game. Hopefully we'll get some fans traveling for this one. I know it's going to be intense because it's homecoming for Oak Lawn. Plus you pull into a giant construction zone because they're building a new school there, so it's got to be an experience as well. But good luck this Friday to the Mustangs.
Appreciate it very much. Have a good week and go Mustangs.
It's the EP Podcast. All things Evergreen Park. It's the EP Podcast. Evergreen Park.